Hello, and today we continue to talk about avoidance. Avoidance part 2, because it's such a large topic. I divided in 3 parts, and today we're going to discuss gender, emotional cooperation, and modern maturity, and how we avoid all that. What's the difference in terms of avoidance between woman and man? What is the natural aspects of avoidance? How we emotionally cooperate and what we are running away from? And what's mean in modern life maturity? Biological, emotional, and social layers of avoidance. What are they? Gender shapes how we avoid, not who we avoid. And we need to learn about it. We need to know differences between the genders. Why men withdraw and women overextend? Why they're so different and they constantly go into the crash and into the fight, misunderstanding and separation. Modern culture confusion of strength and sensitivity. Why we're avoiding these topics? And from polarity to partnership. And of course, goal of this lecture to get more empathy without blame to opposite genders and explain what's going on. Biological foundation is crucial, and here we're talking about genetics. Your biological gender, you're born male or female, playing here a crucial role and difference. Serotonin synthesis around 52% higher in man than in women, and this is genetic predisposition. Of course, except to that, we have our normal genetic predisposition, how are the gut, and of course lifestyle, the way how we live and eat affecting it. But in general speaking, men are higher in serotonin. They all have more testosterone. We don't know yet the direct link between serotonin and testosterone, making men more natural, more resistant to stress. They're taking more risks, and they're less afraid. They're much braver than women, and there is a lot of reasons why. Women have, however, much higher sensitivity of serotonin. That's why they are more into emotional depths. When they get connected, they have a lot of meaning inside of. Yes, in terms of concentration, we have it less, we're more reactive, but we are more responding, if you like, to this emotion, and we are more vivid, if you like. Testosterone helping man get in this calm, this is serotonin provided them by the nature, and taking risk and independence. And risks, this is a main factor to be honest, we rich, we become wealthy. That's why majority of the money belongs to the men, because men are not scared, they're driven, they're taking risks. And as probably we know that majority of very wealthy and successful men, they're getting once they are young, because they're still very flexible, they have so much energy and they've got nothing holding them to take these risks. Of course, men any type of life can take a risky behavior, investment, or change profession. In these terms, they are more likely to do that comparison to women. But estrogen, on our part, linked more to oxytocin, to the hormone of connection and empathy. We constantly think they need a hug, we need this connection. We are more sensitive to different events, and they get more stressed. And this is the main crucial differences. We shouldn't deny, and we can explain what's going on between the genders, and don't try in the life saying that women and the man have the same resilience to the stress, they can hold the same pressure, they're taking the same risk, they have the same courage. No, we can do occasion, of course there are exceptions on the women, but there's exception on the male side. They're differently wired, but we're equally intelligent, we have a different intelligence. But you should not fight and saying who is smarter and who is better. They should cooperate, and they should learn how to deal and how to support each other and share the differences. I have more oxytocin, you have more serotonin. How about the exchange, and they do the role, and equally, I would say, in terms I've given you what I have more than you, and you share what you have more, because we women, they create a lot of things. Men taking the risks, and they create wealth, and we know that the encouragement, risk taking, hard work, and everything, the man is so energized, way creating this wealth. And what they do, they share this wealth with a woman, and a woman sharing her oxytocin and estrogen with a man, if you like, care, empathy, this connection that men need to recover, and is crucial and very important for men to recover. So this means biology doesn't mean your destiny. So you don't think that women, they're not taking risks. No, we do, but less often. Doesn't mean that men don't have empathy. Absolutely, they can't connect. No, they also do, but less often comparison to other drives that genetically we have. And when we have awareness, when they know these differences, we can make a choice, and we can react differently with a smile. Gut, brain link, and lifestyle. I talk endlessly about microbiomes, and that serotonin in 95% produced in our gut. And here we are what we eat. In terms of how we respond to the stress, of course, it's genetics. So no, men can allow themselves have a less healthy diet comparison to women, but for women it's essential and very important for so many different reasons why we need to be mindful, and why we should look more on the diet in terms of stress management. Mainly women who are working hard, similar jobs as the men, sharing the roles, having managing roles, or high responsibility works, they are in higher risks of burnout, of the stress, of the hard menopause and hormonal shifts. Woman's emotional rhythm links to the cycle, to menstrual cycle, and afterwards going to the menopause, then all these symptoms get much more severe. And men's energy linked steadier to the stress reactive, and of course it also linked to testosterone, and they andropause, then testosterone level go into decline, and also they are shifting from their strength, from risk taking as well, and from bravery. They're getting less brave, and all the changes it belongs to both genders. So that's why it's essential for women and men exercise on a regular basis, have a morning sunlight, or at least artificial sunlight, and I'm using that even now. So different lights, you see how you can energize yourself. There is we live in 21st century. We have so many different gadgets. If you don't have a sun, please install around you the sun and look in the sun for 15-20 minutes in the morning, or during the moments when you need this energy the most. And of course, regulation of the sleep, and in general lifestyle advice. And then of course we become more emotionally resilient. We should understand and know our limits in terms of physical activity, our hormonal shifting changes, and show the knowledge, and with understanding we can improve it. Couples who eat and move well, they also bond much better, and then the couples know each other limitations, or I would say not limitations, differences between the genders. They understand, and they reduce in level for conflicts, or at least intensity of such conflict. Let's talk now about the male avoidance style, because nearly all the women think that men are avoidant. Mainly then women say we need to talk. Yeah, and then women say then we need to talk. Majority of the men will try to delay and avoid such conversation, because it's probably the worst thing what imagine for them. Woman wants to talk, and in the woman's language, we need to talk, or I want to talk. It means I want to be connected with you. I have a problem, I have a worries, and I'm craving to connect with you. But men, for the men points of view, that will be hysteria, that will be something terrible. And they have a fear in their eyes, and they fear in their thoughts what this talk could be about. Withdrawal is to regulate these fears, regulate, because if they need to talk to someone, and then saying the same seriousness as a woman, it will be serious talk. And they misinterpret and trying to avoid because they're already in the head. They think, oh my God, what she want to talk about? And a woman taking this as rejection. So he doesn't want to connect with me. He doesn't want to listen to me. And you see his misunderstanding. Please understand each other. Understand the woman just need to talk, or allow her have 5-10 minutes of talking. Women need to say much more words, around 30,000 up to 40,000 words per day, comparison to the men who just say much less words. This is their needs, around 7,000 words. You see, it's 3-4 times more. Let her speak. Yeah, pretend to listen. Just say, yes, I hear you. Yes, I understand. And let her, when she says she needs to talk. And if you allow her to talk, believe me, it will be no needs to invite you for some sort of evening communication. We need to talk. Action in the male replace dialogue, so they prefer to act rather than to speak. And here, avoidance of communication, avoidance of verbal communication, man, because as I said, the fear for the man is much more serious. It's about, they're very constructive. It's not about if men telling you a lot of stories. It's unusual for the man, but still that I would say women should be really alert, because men talks with actions, there are more actions. If you talk and don't act, avoiding inactions, then there's something wrong in there, and women need to be more alert. So they're not the woman, yeah. So if woman, she's talking, it's fine, but when she starts to talk, that is a danger. Why she starts talking? Why she's not coming to you? Why she's not explaining you how was her day, and why she's not cooperating and sharing this with you? If she keep calm and just doing things, that's something wrong. It's a really huge alarm. In this case, men should interpret. Let's go and talk about it. What's going on? What's happened? Why you're so calm? Why you're not that talkative? So emotional avoidance is protection mechanism for the men, because it's hard for them to get it out of this historically and genetically already postponed structure of avoiding communication, because communication is not helping them to act and do things. And men hemispheres, they're not that connected in comparison to women. So women can, excuse me, talk, and she can cook and feed her baby and listen. Hemisphere is much more connected to each other. For the man, no. If he concentrate, and he's doing one thing. And if you're going to talk, you wouldn't be able to do things. And women, we're used to do so many different things on the same time. She might breastfeed, look at the baby, she can cook, and at the same time she can chat with a friend over the phone. Men can't do that. It's unusual for the man to do the same thing. And the breastfeeding is the connection, so she's checking if everything is fine, and the baby on one side and not having the phone, and she's doing sometimes ironing, cooking, or talking, and oh god, that's a lot of action on one. So they don't fix the man, and the man don't try to fix the woman. Trying to understand the healthy environment, and healthy woman, she'll be talkative, she will try to connect with you, she will do a lot of things in the same time, and she will be on the move. The same with a man, he's not talkative. If he's talking, probably is respect, and we need to understand that if your man avoiding communication, avoiding something, he probably stressed, tired, and he can't concentrate. He wouldn't be able to get to the point you want. So don't be cross. Don't take it as a rejection of yourself, or don't take it as the problem within your relationships. Now is no problem. Everything is healthy, and both of you doing the right thing. And avoidance here is a positive avoidance. It's avoidance nature designed to thrive and flourish together. And this is a strength for both genders. And but occasionally then is overuse and over isolated, over consumed by both genders. It's becoming turning into isolation. Men run away if it's constantly women constantly trying to talk to him, chat, and not leaving him alone. And when a man leaving a woman at all time, avoiding, ignoring, that's happening well in relationships. So growth here is redefined as strengths, as openness is open communication and open actions from both genders. Now about the female avoidance styles, because we're also avoidance, not they're avoiding taking risks. And then the men want to change the job and taking some risk, they prefer stability. And this risky behavior really triggers us. We have such anxiety because we're thinking of our children, thinking about the home. They kind of find there's some changes, work, and of course we pressurize the man, or they become more emotional, and our stability going out of the balance. So we're not really, not a huge risk takers. We over invest in emotional labor. Sometimes we can be over controlling, over mothering, over talkative, over thinking, oh my God, what's going on? And perfectionism. They are always want to be socially approved, and this is linked to our appearance. Women, we always. I was saying when I'm recording lectures or I'm going out, I want to make sure I look good, I have nice things to wear, and yes, it's important for us. It's important to understand that we do our best, and this perfectionism as well might go out of the boundaries. Then majority of the time we might be overconsumed by the look, overconsumed by this perfectionism, leaving other very important things aside. For example, I want to be a perfect mother, and only what she is doing, she absolutely jump into this motherhood, forget about other things. It's hard balance for both genders. I mean, you need to understand, if you notice your partner or member of your family or your friends going into this avoidance or perfectionism, there's some perfectionism form of avoidance as well, yeah, because they overconsumed by perfection and they avoid to do other things, and they prioritize, I would say, over prioritizing less important things. Women, they're seeking safety, in control, or overthinking. For example, if anything happened and a man don't reply, and replies in here, communication with men for us is very important. And if men delay with reply, women automatically think that's it, he's somebody else, he stopped loving me, he doesn't want to talk to me, but he's just busy. He is just on the meeting, he is thinking about other things, might be quite delayed, and for his response it's normal, but for us we're getting really anxious. And if you notice that it's all time, and sometimes we might person to person varies really yeah, but again, balance here is essential. And if you feel overwhelmed by women natural behavior, if you like, over control and overthinking what's going on, we just need to talk. And in this case, both genders need to understand the differences, how you can balance, and what actions both genders can do to balance it. So overconnection replaces boundaries. Again, when it's too much, women might be too much. We might be a little bit too much, because when they stick to something, when they get connected, it's very hard to disconnect. Yeah, so that's why science recommends 7 to 2 hours break sometimes when they spend an intense time together to rewire it, reduce this and dopamine and oxytocin and overwhelming. And both genders, men wants to run away and hide, yeah, and woman opposite, she actually wants more and more. So in here sometimes it's very good. It takes 7 to 2 hours. You spend overwhelmed or spend long time together or got some arguments, please follow the 7 to 2 hours rule without any I would say any hysteria or any arguments about it. Just say, listen, I think we both get overwhelmed. How about we stay out of touch, not in contact for 72 hours, and then you start to talk again 72 hours. And this is the time then neurotransmitters in the brain calming down to original level. It's hard. It's like addiction, you know, because of it, driven by the dopamine, by the oxytocin, by a lot of different neurotransmitters, and they should let this, hurricane to calm down. And after 72 hours, you will see, you'll go for it. Again, the 72 hours rule is a saver. It's not punishment. It's not ignorance. It's not manipulation. It's something that scientists recommend. You can Google. I think in some lectures I was talking about it more, but 72 hours highly recommended to avoid this avoidance of both of you taking reasonable action to balance it. And actually, if men need this overwhelmed, he got balanced that, okay, women leave him for 72 hours, that should be enough. And even in the normal healthy couples, once in 3 months recommended. Depends on the intensity. Do you live together? What is your tendency? How many years you've been together? Just let go your loved one for 72 hours. Let miss each other. Yeah, let miss this talking, or let missing your daily routine that you get used so much, and then for 72 hours not there, you will miss, and then you will love it. You build up this reconnection. Highly recommend it to everyone, mainly for the people who has avoidant tendencies, because the growth is tolerate and uncertainty and imperfections, and we can't, dear women, the man wouldn't be as us, and we need to accept that. We wouldn't be able to reshape or change them. If we try to push or change someone, mainly the gender, the biologically healthy, is only bring unhealthiness, mental burnout, and conflicts, and as a result, is not building something common, is destroying of relationship and destroying of a well-being and health. So courage here is doing without needing or guarantee. So nobody will guarantee that any reasonable woman wouldn't show the sign of avoidance of comparison, both genders. So gender risks and responsibilities. So men usually risk externally and women risk rationally. So the both genders, so the risk still there, but women prefer to be much more rational. As a result, they must less often for example, in prison comparison to men. Men believe everything will be fine, so he overthink that in terms of safety, because of much higher serotonin, you're much calmer about things, and women were less in serotonin, and they imagine the negative outcome, anxious about it, and we just simply not doing that. And both avoid their weakest domain. So we know that we won't be able to cope these risks, so we might burn out, so we're just simply not going there. And men, he knows as well, so there's overthinking, over anxiety, and even nature, they have more calmness and they're more security, more bravery comparison to the man or to the woman. They do that, and they do well. They're so much richer, I would say. It's so rare women achieve such wealth comparison to the men. So that's why women always trying to be by the wealthy man. And the wealthy man also mean he's a risk taker. Yeah, so he's taking risk, and these risk takers mean he will protect you. He has a courage, he knows what to do in the right moment, and he don't have a fear comparison to us women, because we're very rational. That's why wealthy men getting so attracted to women in any age, because she feels with him I will be safe, because he's brave. He's not scared to lose everything. And this bravery, this masculine energy, getting translated in his success. So avoidance of accountability, that's a different thing. That both genders nowadays, they're trying to avoid being accountable, responsible for their actions. And equality here is the shared courage in both spheres. So they don't ask women to do the same bravery actions as men. And if men do the same precaution, if you like, or avoidance, not avoidance, but what the woman is better in terms of connections and empathy, he will be more in the loser side rather benefit. They're even the same attraction, because we're all intermating, And women always will be attracted to the man who is showing this brave part and who share this braveness and protecting the woman, and giving her this peace, if you like. But for second part, there we got it. So we get attracted. They get attracted to this bravery, to this attention, and then they get it. We're not happy because we want to talk. We want this attention. We want constant connection. It's not happening. They get distressed, and now that's happening, a fight, and that people can't find, and that's it. Is they're splitting. They can't communicate. So here, mature partnership is a risk taken for the male side and empathy combined. So they share, and we try to balance this, because balance is a freedom with responsibility for both genders. Woman responsible for the man, and man is responsible for the woman. And then, of course, both genders, they have a children, they have next generation, they're both responsible for. Okay, so risk, serotonin, and behavior. They understand where it's coming from, testosterone, high serotonin synthesis in the man, and they're getting calmer under the pressure. They feel more sensitivity, empathy and inhibition, so we are much calmer, and we are not very good on a stress management. That's why a lot of men can't work with them when they're stressed or under the management, or HR, for example, as well. The woman constantly under the stress and trying to resolve the stress. And human resources, in psychology now, even saying not human resources, HR is her resources, then women constantly trying to, as well as a communication, isn't it? When people complain, it's some form of communication. And women are going to distract the man who don't want to communicate at all, and what she does, as nature of the woman, she go communicate and complain and talk, and she's doing her job. Her nature is to talk, to communicate, and she's going complaining and disturbing the job. Of course, that in the workplace probably ideally should be discussed in normality, rather trying to fix women or trying to fix the man, because men already, and a lot of workplace, they're scared of women. Like, I don't know, they just already, when they hear of the woman getting into the office, they get already like a shaky, like get scared. Or manager woman, not everyone even agree, or I heard that men even resign because they say, I'm not going to be under woman, because they're different. And to accept that, whatever government were trying to push equality and send the equal, women might manage the same females and their own departments, then majority will be women. But whereas the man, ideally, they are better, they are calmer under the pressure, they will be better thinker, and whatever we say in general, managers and their stressful work and involve bravery, risk-taking, men will be much better, at least 52% better. And this is already quite good success, and this is already in general. But again, I'm not saying there's no exclusion, there is no women in who might be good managers, but I would say is lower chance comparison to men. Testosterone as well, fuel this rule breaking and this energy, this bravery comparison to women. They have more energy, they're much faster as well in terms of response in that. And risk becomes virtue then paired with meaning. Yeah, so dopamine without ethics happening in the house. So that's why then very important for men to slow down, anything calmer and sharper, because true bravery then a man is truly valuable in a woman's eyes, and in the world lies is emotional intelligence in motion. And the brave, they act, they're not scared of taking risks, but also they include their emotional intelligence. So what is the role of genders in the gender revolution? 20th century refined bravery for women. First of all, they introduced contraception, hormone contraception, then allow women not getting pregnant and get her out of the house into the workforce, and this reshaped women behavior. In the past century and now, so over 100 years, as we know, less than 200 years, when women given even the votes in some countries, even less, only last century, being allowed women to study, go to universities, get educated, and work on the same workplace as men. And women get access to the power, and they are under risk taking. And clearly, we're not doing this work so good as a man. There is a lot of cases they're trying to make it as equal. Then they have a lot of law, a lot of regulations that cause only chaos in the workplace, and chaos and disagreement, battles, court cases, employment tribunals. There's so many different breaking, I would say, discussions. So now we know very well, evidence-based, scientifically based, that the cost of women working the same role as men, working hard and coming back home, is a burnout, is a hormonal dysregulation, is anxiety, depression, and very important to say, very hard menopause. Now we're under tendency getting menopause as extra burden in the workplace, and the woman getting overwhelmed by environment, by the stress. She just biologically cannot cope. And what to do? I think it will be a lot of political question, a lot of given estrogen and trying to control that, not going to resolve too much problem. And I think companies and something should happen, because women contribute, government want women to go to work and contribute, and a family budget based on both income, women and men. However, they need to understand that women can cope. And the price here, there's no free lunch, and the price for women is paying for that is probably over than more negative side, right, rather positive. So men tradition identity destabilized, so the men getting less valued and actually suppressed. There is men getting more disorganized and distracted by women, by the differences. You can imagine he get distracted right at home, and then it's extra distraction at workplace, and emotional skill backed widen temporarily, and a new gender maturity emerging. So we women, one part, yes, we're quite flexible. For a second part is they are adaptive, but we can't jump higher. There's certain things we can't. They have limitations, and I don't think that limitations, if they're gonna break, is ignore difference in reality, will bring us a lot of success in future. So there is a problem here, and somehow society have to resolve it, and businesses probably going to resolve it naturally themselves. Modern immaturity as well, bringing this avoidance as a choice. Both sexes avoid adulthood both equally. Women delaying become a mother, delaying take responsibility for that for different reasons. Again, they have a culture now that women should finish university, she need to work, and then it's too late. And then she get extra anxious that her biological time putting her under the pressure, doing the wrong choices. And here it's very important for the woman to understand that she needs to do the right choices. If she wants to do the family, she has to decide in her 20s if she wants to have a family and work towards that, not towards career, not towards earning the money, because she wouldn't be that good. Maybe 1 out of 100 or 1,000 will succeed, but majority of us will fail. So if your woman is sure she will be one of them, she might go to a career, but again, she might miss opportunity to be a mother, wife, and have a natural good aging. So here's a dilemma, and this is the choice with probably humanity and or women specifically never got before, because hormonal contraception and sexual and sex revolution, everything that's gone for the past 100 years, give us this some sort of choice. We can become mature and adult, or you can still pretend or have a irresponsible, I would say immature life, avoiding mature and adult decisions. Make escape through detachment and risk. So men don't want to risk. They choosing as well less risky jobs. As a result, is really bad effect on the testosterone levels. We know is a reduction, I think, as 50% less testosterone than their grandparents. because the job's getting less masculine, less physical, demanding, and as a result, they straight away seen in spermogram, and the women as well, the fertility rates going down the hill because both genders doing the wrong thing, and psychologically, and nutrition, and sleep deprived. They have so many things that actually making us less competitive, and younger generation should step in and do something about it. Women actually starting to over control or over caretaking, and social media actually promoting fun, promoting careless attitude and egocentrism. Think about yourself. You have one life, so enjoy it now. Don't think about others, and love yourself, and all that's an actually quite childish approach. Then you 2-3 years old, then yes, you choose yourself, you want it now. Delayed gratifications is not working because the kids want now. If not, they become quite expressive in their emotions, yes and no. So maturity is the choosing limits widely. You need to understand your limits. Women need to understand her limits as women. Man should understand his limits, and trying to balance it in with responsibility, because responsibility is not your limitations, is your growth and is your liberation, you know. Because when you take responsibility, you are you're growing. Yeah, it's the way to grow. I mentioned several times hysteria, and where it's come from, because it's clearly a female word, and a lot of women getting aware of emotional, if you say. And this history is from Greek hystera, which means uterus. It's a blame woman's emotion, and women might be more hysterical, more emotional. Now, we're not saying hysteria, but it's still stuck as the word. And the men, I would say, name women, majority of us, they might be hysterical or over emotional, etc. And Hippocrates is called it as a wandering womb myth. And Victorian have diagnoses as for female distress, and women get more hysterical, and showing this history more than menopause, hormonal changes in her middle age. And in only 1868, and DMS removed hysteria, and now we call it not hysterical women, perhaps she'd been too emotional. But it's true, when women get under the pressure or under the threat, after the danger, we have these emotions coming out. It might be tears, it might be a lot of noise, and a lot of movement that actually men don't have. Emotional misunderstanding. Man is calm, and this calmness and peace is his regulation, and talking for women is for healing. They need hugs, we need talks, and here there is a huge difference. So we need somehow allow having talking time. We have 10 minutes, and after that, the man, he has his calm time, reading newspaper, or reading a book, or watching his something, get into his routine. And if they both misread each other needs, or disrespect other genders, they're not going to know where. They're going to create this fight, this tension. They're only going to grow and then explode as distancing. And finally, eventually, what's happening, they're trying to find, women will find another partner she will be talking or get connected with, and men will find another distractions, and relationships fall apart. And this is not what we want. We want people to stay together, to value each other, have a stable, strong families, and more important, raise next generation in peace and with confidence. Because avoidance of accepting the differences, and accepting both genders, avoidance, saying that both have limitations, that they mean with silence or pursuing changes dangerous. So co-regulation requires translation and not argument. So we don't need to fight. We don't need to blame each other for differences, and trying to change the genders is not going to happen. It's with millions of years. And if you think you're going to change something, woman or man, within, I don't know, some few years or few months when allowed to each other, it's not going to happen. Biology is there. Biology explain behavior of genders and here genders, and we need to be have empathy to each other. So how what we avoid in terms of genders from gender lens, we avoid both genders avoid the most. In terms of male, they avoid to health checks, checkups, doctor appointment, so they're very responsive to the care and medical devices and things like that. Emotions and therapy. So that's why it's very hard to take a man to talk, because they're not talking. They're only 7,000. You can imagine. And therapy, mainly counseling, that sort of therapy is very involved. Actually, talk about. There's a lot of therapists, men. You know why? Because they don't talk. You see, the man therapist who work in psychology. That's why so many psychologists men, because he sits and he just like a fish. He's a silent. He's a patient who need to talk, but he listens, and they're very, very good at that. And for women, it's harder because she wants to chat, or she needs to learn this. It's unnatural for her. So that's why teaching for women is better than school teaching, or care and empathy, medical, nursing, children, caring, that sort of thing. Women definitely will be better than a man. But women avoid rest, because we constantly need to do something. They constantly need to chat. They constantly need imperfections. Our brain constantly is wiring together so many things to do. So if we will endlessly can't sit being in one place, we're here, there, and the man opposite, he just don't move. Sitting fishing, you can imagine sitting fishing, or what they do if they're hiking somewhere in the mountains alone, or sitting in the with computer concentrating or reading something. Just, I'm not here. Imagine I'm not here is the favorite thing. And for women, much harder to say no. So because we want to be liked, because historically women will not survive alone. We're strong. They're not that strong. We are physically less. They're not that strong physically, and that's why we have to. Some of the ones we want you to be happy, because if not, we'll be out of the tribe. We won't have a dinner, and we'll die. So that's why women are quite flexible in these terms. We're flexible and sexually, so that's why they're like a Play-Doh. Men with the right things can do as anything he wants, but only with the right actions. We're very flexible. Men not really flexible. So women has to accept his limitations and a lot of things. Man, if he's born very chatty, you can get this personality that's good, but in general, they're much less flexible. They might be mature and ready for that, or might decide to be immature. So that's different, but it's their decision. If you decide to mature, take responsibility, they will do that. If not, they're not going to change. But a woman, we are Play-Doh. You can work with us with limitations, of course, but in terms of say no or say yes, that's why we say when women say no, that means yes, isn't it? So then that's true. And women usually prioritize others because of that. So we want to please. We have much more empathy for others, and as a result, we're losing ourselves and taking care of others. We forget about our own needs. And both genders, of course, avoid challenges of identity to call it and understand that we need to take action something we don't see it. So men don't see themselves that about themselves, and actually we need to talk about it and find a solution. And couples depend on couples. Somebody will be more, somebody less, and they find each other, communicate, and they adapt. Good thing is enough. They still are humans and they're quite adaptive. We adapt to things, so make sure you have the initial spark, and couples, when you work together, we can connect quite nicely and go ahead as well for quite a nice period of time. And health, of course, in terms of lifestyle medicine, is balanced responsibility, spectrum from both genders together. Men much definitely benefits a lot from marriage from the woman because of her empathy, her care, and her attention. So she will prioritize in his health. She'll try to please a man, and women will actually benefit from the good marriage. So it's very important for women to choose the right mature man who will take responsibilities and who will take also the main taking risks for her, and then this union might work. If women but if man is not responding and actually immature for women in these terms, evidence-based is better to take care of herself, and she will do it better, and she'll prolongate in this case her life. So here's very important for both genders, understand. But men, whatever it is, mature, immature, he'll still actually benefit from woman by his side. So he prolongate his life around 7 to 10 years, and quite good way. And without, in general, if a man stays alone in a mid age, it actually will tell exactly how he will, how his last 10, 20 years will be. So cooperation and sharing discomfort fairly, and listen to each other and understand. Okay, what is the daily conflicts? And daily conflicts is a stress reaction to opposite yet complementary, because of course they absolutely don't want to talk about it, and they get into the conflict. The majority of the conflicts are into this gender differential avoidance. His silence trigger her pursuit. More he is silent, more she's trying to chase and get this connection, or she's taken as rejection. And her desire for connection, her desire to talk or for the compliment, everything triggers his retreat. So men actually get extra alert and stepping back. And here we need to understand women should stop pursuing the man, and men as well should be a little bit more cooperative and more talkative, and more go into the contact and connection with women. If not, we'll be going into the chronic stage and absolute collapse of relationships. Yeah, and there's no other way. So if you see that, both genders, first of all, need to see it is happening and take reasonable steps to prevent it or end it, discuss it, and if it's unresolved, impossible to resolve, if we both don't want to act and do something, but ignorance in here and avoidance of actions actually delay, just you killing yourself, you destroying your health in general and well-being. So share language of stress will have emotional peace. So allow the men, women should be able to talk or be hugged and connected. Men should have an opportunity to stay alone and recover by his own or by his stress recovery method, and learn to ask, how do you calm down? Is the best thing is to ask and to see, I notice your stress. What do you want to do to calm you down, to recover from this stress? And how I can assist? What's the best way for you? And men usually just say, just leave me alone. Yeah. So emotional evolution for men. Women integrated in terms of risk taking, hard work and responsible jobs, risk taking under the pressure of modern society. Then both genders has to work, and they are adaptive for a lot of human resources, a lot of stress and dramas majority of the time. However, they adapt in doing better than emotionally unavailable men. That woman is more flexible in these terms, taking risk and learning to take risk, going to the gym. I'm a strong woman, yeah, go girl, and to become independent. They're building houses, they're earning the money, they're raising children alone. So it seems like they burn out. They're not fine. They're not fine. Let's say it's not healthy, but they're doing that. And they progress in these terms much better comparison to emotional flexibility for the man. So men need help. Men need this help to support women the right way, because this emotional connection and balance is a new leadership skill. You wouldn't be able right now to delete women out of workplace, because all the economy in the Western world link work of two genders. So we have to learn, and both genders have to learn how we adapt to each other. So men need to learn emotional leadership, and I can over understand the woman and has the tools to calm females down. And women should ability as well to learn as well to control their emotion and understand men and support men to grow their emotions, emotional intelligence, emotional language, because both emotional articulation builds serotonin stability, and they can share and they can support each other. And of course, here is very important, you should have energy. So nobody cancel your glucotypes, nobody cancel your glucose level, flexibility for your brain, because that need control, and control comes from brain, and brain needs energy, need glucose or ketones. So micro sharing in talking about the difference in the support builds comfort with feelings. Talk about the feelings. What can you name what you feel? So as a feeling emotional wheel, we can use as a language. So say if you feel sad, can you name it? So practice it as a couple, even practice it at work. How do you feel? How overwhelmed do you feel? And talk about it. Safe male groups reduce avoidance habits and opening up, increasing testosterone regulation as well. So when men start to talk about it and showing up and open his vulnerability, actually his well-being also get improved, and they get more courage now that he wouldn't be blamed or ashamed by female. An emotional validation for the woman. So woman bravery often external and inner rest missing. So women, yes, you might feel I'm fine, I go now working and do exercise at so many things, and she's not fine. Yeah, she might look fine visibly because we have so many, we have a makeup, they have so many things so I can hide it, other fragility. Even they showing that they're super strong, they are fragile, they're still women inside. So over-connection is avoidance of solitude and learning boundary. We need to learn to prevent these burnouts, and the woman should learn as well how she can prevent herself from burnout. So in terms of job, can you cope it? Can you cope with stress? Can you cope with this leadership? Or you have to step back and take care of yourself, because we are a female. Originally, women was overliving men quite a lot. Now this gap shrinking. So and this gap shrinking because men taking less risks and women taking all those risks. So to see how this risk taken, taken out of her life. And if you're looking at last 20, 30 year statistics, actually women still live longer. Yeah, because not a lot of women still choosing safety rather work, but all these brave go women actually have a tough life, tough menopause, and quite stressful life, I would say. We don't realize financially nowadays we feel the benefits, but emotionally, of course, they live a lot of strain. Recovery here is the key. Resting without guilt, because one woman resting after long hours, what she does, she usually trying to be a woman, she's cleaning, she's in laundry, she's cooking, and she's still trying to look after yourself and getting into her professionalism to look good. And it's like a lot of time, yeah, but she just sleeps, just need massage and sleep, and quite often she just can't afford it because get overwhelmed by responsibilities. And the strength here, self-containment, not constant empathy for others, and a little bit more empathy for yourself. Yeah, you should understand modern women, they can't cope. We can't be Wonder Woman. You can play some role for some short period of the time, but the long run is not. They pay the huge price. There's no free lunch in terms of money and your well-being, because feminine maturity is still braveness. So yes, you are brave, but you don't act. You act it, so then it's only needed and crucial and critical. Cooperation without blame. So here is avoid blaming each other. a plain, basic understanding, and discuss what is the best stress management for both genders. As I said, women will be in this role, and men has to learn a little bit, getting more emotionally educated, the same as women learning, taking risks and taking the roles they never take before, damaging roles, and they adopt slowly. Yeah, so I hope the law, employment law, will change. So far they put in only more restrictions with understanding in terms of women within menopause, because we expect women to work in the workplace, and this 10-15 years transition might last as long as 10 years, and that's just a lot. And you can imagine this overwhelmness by the emotion, by the leading position, responsibilities. Women simply can't cope, so they give him progesterone, estrogen. They're already under the pressure to apply this medication in regular basis, to do the blood test and still carry on with work, and of course with side effects. More she works, more she is in the loop of the stress, more severe this response will be. And I don't know how modern society will, in aging society, and actually we have a tendency, women entering perimenopause much younger than it was before, or they notice now, because perimenopausal, this is the aging is shifting, women entering from around age of 40, together with a man who has andropause and dysfunction in terms of male health. So both entering that and creating a lot of tension. And usually in your 40s, so you're probably in your primes, and this is the primes that actually start to dysregulate and need attention, understanding, and empathy from both genders. So share, use a pause, slow down, and take care of yourself. Learn about your limitations, your limits, and what you have more comparison, what you're better in, and opposite coping styles, complementary assets in the workplace, at home, and how you keep it balanced without overwhelming each other, without keeping the stress or anxiety about the future. So don't blame each genders, don't blame others. We need to find a solution, how we cooperate and how they balance that. In terms of lifestyle and emotional medicine, we know certain things can help is exercise, because exercise is stimulant, antidepressant, and anti-avoidance too, because it's action. Yeah, we do something, and avoidance is inaction. That's why exercise, whatever you do, you start to exercise and you know you're suffering from some different types of avoidance, or you need to improve for both genders, women and men. For men is more important because we have more testosterone, and that boosts women. It is important for her as well to stay active, but as well she need to be careful for not overdo, not overproduce with testosterone, because she will go into this balance. So women need to be again here more mindful and less risk taker. Yeah, so women, please, we are in these terms, we're more fragile, we're stronger for one side because of estrogen, great protector for us. We get protected by the nature for one side, but for the second part, so we have to be more mindful, and we are. Yeah, we have less serotonin, so a little bit more anxious about changes, about things. So nutrition, of course, here is very important for serotonin, and there's a tryptophan, and tryptophan rich food, of course. I love turkey because turkey one of them. There is in other ingredients like as well some sort of granaries and aubergine and other things, blueberries, and you can do the list, but the quite high amount of tryptophan because it's there will be in turkey. So I recommend, and actually I would say it's important to probably make it more available in the markets, in the shops, to boost serotonin for both genders and calm down and get positive response, and have a turkey not only for Christmas. Share sleep as repairs emotional circuits, shared hobbies, bonding, and balancing your dopamine. As I said, this is sometimes 72 hours no contact rule. And I think this is very important not only for relationships in the workplace, in having sometimes the 3 days just no communication with your colleagues who get distressed or have arguments with. And I think that might be good practice as well to to get this separation. Just like now, you're not going to talk to each other for 3 days because it's a conflict. We can see it, the both burn out, have an issue, and the 72 hours, please, no contact to each other, calm down, and after next week, for example, you'll be okay. The nature time allows avoidance, interactivity, as well as a connection to the nature, the greenery, flowers, that sort of things. Mainly are quite really beneficial for women, like flowers. And of course, healthy life and be emotion expressive and expression in terms of your emotions for both genders. Cultural healing. Society needs emotional education and they don't have it. We're still trying to compare the genders and make them equal, and I don't think that's going to work because we're not equal, we're different, and this difference is quite significant. So media polarize empathy and making this into the conflict. So they still try and explain a lot of now, for example, women and the men, again, under the pressure to understand a lot of women, her changes, learning about menopause and her being over emotional, etc. However, men in these terms going into severe decline and under the crisis themselves. So I will promote both genders, men and women, menopause and andropause, because also men suffering from that, not in the best way, and they need to address both genders' issues and problems and learn how to cooperate and how address both challenges together and resolve these issues together, because we have to work together. We have to raise wealth and families together. They have to learn how to communicate, and this is a true maturity. It's not ignorance of or blame or pursue our agenda for understanding or for actions. As true maturity is actually emotionally intelligent people, both genders, and proactive and supporting each other in the times. And avoidance and or blame, and blame is some sort of also avoidance in culture, creating discomfort, and that should be taught at, I don't know, probably as a standard at school when they start in their jobs, and of course in regularly as a culture at workplace, because collective healing is shared emotional literacy. Men should understand what's happening with women, and the women should understand what happened to the man in general, but we don't have definitely this nowadays. So if we do more and more, but I think it should be as a standard operating procedures. So what we again, as a tool for both genders, we can discuss again in is a friendship, is a family, is 3 minutes checklist in terms of what I'm avoiding the most, where is my avoiding side, women in terms of men, and practice a small emotional exposures of discomfort, because exposure therapy is the only possible way for the therapy. We have to explode voluntarily to take into discomfort and get out of the comfort zone, and journal intention, record your emotions. You can talk, you can make any camera records or little notes, or you can write or whatever is easier for you, and replace your blames with gratitude. So you see we're blind, isn't it? We don't see everything, so we have so many blind spots. Please notice your emotional ability or your limitations, or what you're avoiding as a gender, and state it, write it down. So you're not perfect either. A woman is not perfect, man is not perfect, but they are different and they are amazing in both ways, and we have to cooperate and support each other. And move the body to move to the mood. Again, act, do something about it. Don't ignore. And consistency here is a key. Intensity in emotional growth. So tiny little exposure every single day, tiny little changes daily will bring us to result. So avoidance divides in between genders. We are different, and awareness here is the key to know the key differences, and what more important, we all individual, all slightly different, what avoidance you have and what is limited your growth, mainly because avoidance is limitation of our growth and possibilities. Both sexes must master discomfort differently, and women and men, we need to understand each other and be reasonable be reasonable with our requests and our behavior. And maturity is a balance of a strength and sensitivity. So we have to learn how to balance. It's the hardest, the hardest, the hardest. And of course, emotional cooperation is a new intelligence. Men delayed is very hard for them. Open up emotionally and get these connections comparison to women. But women already stepping in and paying the big price for that. And men need probably females' help. We have to share and learn them, open up slowly, and yeah, just progress as well in terms of emotional intelligence. And I would say women are getting as well a tendency getting more avoidant than in terms of creating family, take responsibilities. A lot of women nowadays, they don't want to have children. It's unusual and boring signal. And this is coming avoidance because of risk taking. They can't cope. Yeah. And it's the same level, so becoming this male traits of avoidance getting more and more visible. And the same is because they're taking much more risk, is a crime level boosting in females, and a prison getting more percentage in terms of crime from female, because they are pushed, taking risk to provide for themselves, comparison to generations before. So brave do not fight feelings, they guide them together. And again, avoidance ends where curiosity and knowledge appears, and they start curiosity and changing that. That's it was for today, and we have another topic of about avoidance is social avoidance and taboo topics that creating a social avoidance in terms of topic we're not talking about, but we have to. That's it for today.